waiting for the other shoe to fall in this market, Rosie. Brendan Shanahan's contract is up. There's been rumors of a crucial, huge board meeting coming up on Thursday. From my understanding, there's going to be change. From what I'm told late last night, no decision made on Brendan Shanahan just yet, but I think there's going to be movement. They have like 3,000 people working for the organization. This is already out there. It sounds, and I know Elliot Friedman brought this up yesterday, streamlining is going to be a big thing. So, the 36 AGMs they have, there's not going to be 36 AGMs anymore. There's going to be some movement. That's my understanding. And they haven't made a decision on Brendan Shanahan. I don't know about you. I think the writing's on the wall. You saw it on his face. I just don't know how you make a change at the top, or don't make a change at the top, excuse me.
They're bringing Elon in to cut the fat, are they?
Pretty much.
It's a monster.
Well, dude, honestly, like we've said it so many times in this podcast. How many times do we like pinpoint a person? We're not going to single somebody out, but like, what exactly do they do? Like, what's their day-to-day operation? You can make that case around the league. I love when somebody gets canned and then they show up and they're like an advisor. What are you advising? There's always that question.
Yeah, it seems like with this organization, the thanks for being around and we'll take care of you. There's a few cushy jobs where you're just kind of on the payroll. I remember in Philadelphia, it was not too different, where you got a lot of the old boys club hanging out there, and this guy's cruising in, and this guy has an office, and what's his title again? And it's just kind of being around for the sake of being around from the outside. I get from the inside, you think, hey, the more minds and the more hockey minds, and if we're in a tough spot, it'd be nice to hear some different opinions and perspectives. Fine. But, when things go the way they did with the Maple Leafs this year, you're probably going to look at what can we change, right? And if that is a monster machine with so many different cogs and pieces of it, maybe you need to streamline a little bit, get it smaller. Sometimes things it can get out of control, and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of hands, and it can get kind of convoluted. And you want to bring that back down to, like you said, a more streamlined approach. And we will see. There's a lot of Dubas era stuff left over, and Pelly's in here now, and Tree's kind of been in for both sides of it. I am sure they're going to have a big board meeting. I'm sure they're going to have a meeting of the minds and say, what do we want to look like from here on out? And that'll be exciting to see what they come up with. I think the writing's on the wall for a lot of different things, and some others are up in the air. So that'll be the kind of stuff we cover down the next week or two, I'm sure.
Weirdly, this is relatable. Anybody who has a job and a new boss comes in, you're scared shitless, regardless of your position with that company. And I think everybody knows that Pelly comes in and he can decipher what he wants to do. It sounds like he has full autonomy. And how many times you see a new boss come in, just clean house or whatever, and bring his own people in? I'm not suggesting Pelly's going to do that, but I think a lot of moving parts to this. I think a lot of hands are on deck, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's substantial movement. Like for me, it's pretty simple. I think you promote Brad Treliving. I've been saying this for a couple weeks, and I think you promote somebody within to be the GM of this team, whether it's Shane Doan, Brandon Pridham. But would I be shocked if somebody from the outside comes in? Probably not at this point.
All I want to know is who is making the calls to the teams and putting the offers out there and feeling out what is this guy movable, and talking to the agents. Where's this guy's head at? Does he have interest in this? What's he looking at? Can we come together and maybe start to get closer to maybe becoming, putting together a deal? Like who's the GM? Like I don't know all these other bloody words. I don't really care. President or I don't care.
But it starts from the top. I think that's the leadership from the top. That's the problem with the Shanaplan. It failed epically, and he's the guy at the forefront of the core four who didn't want to dismantle the core four for years. So that's the pushback there.
Yeah, and I think that if he leaves, that'll be what it's about. The timing is perfect. Like the reason we're talking about Mitch Marner so much is because his contract is up. Brendan Shanahan's is as well. He was part of the Dubas era. He committed and ran it back, and he was the guy that believed in this group, who ultimately, with the big boys where you invested all of your money and put your core, belief and money into, they have come up quite spectacularly short, and it's clear now that together they're not going to work. So you look back and say, well, what you committed to and doubled down on was not didn't win you a Stanley Cup. And that's the ultimate goal at this level. Shanahan wasn't in here to come and make the second round and have a good run against the Panthers. It was a Stanley Cup, and maybe Stanley Cup or bust. We're going to find out about that. But again, it doesn't help him that the lineup of his contract and what it would be tough for them to be negotiating a big fat contract with the taste in everyone's mouth right now.
The one thing I can't comprehend, and it pisses me off, quite frankly, is that from Shanahan's perspective, people suggest it's not a results-oriented business where it's more so about the gate. You're always going to get gate in Toronto. They could be dog shit, and maybe they're saying maybe it's not a loss for Shanahan because they get to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs and they get to a game 7 and they made a shit ton of money. But results are results, man. Any job you have in life, 2 playoff series victories in 11 years, it is time to go. Profoundly. Like it's over, man. It's just time to move on, man.
Yeah, and it's tough to say, man. Like it could be an end of an era, and it hurts because this era was exciting. There was so much potential. Like with Shanny, I mean, I grew up like he was one of my top 2, 3 favorite players. I remember those series he played, winning the Stanley Cup, and what he did for Detroit, and I just respected the hell out of the fact that here's an all-star who can put the puck in the net, who's high-end talent and got all the stuff, but he doesn't rest on his laurels. He says, I can do more. I'm willing to do more. Like he's fought like Bob Probert and stuff like that. He would go to war. He would go to battle. He was part of those teams that literally, it seemed like they were going to war when they were trying to win the Stanley Cup. He knows what that's like. He knows what that feels like. He was the epitome of that. And then to double down on this group of softies and then really dig his heels in, it'll be his downfall if he in fact leaves this organization. And it kind of bothers me. Like I want to just say, Shanny, dude, like what this takes. Like this, I know this is the new NHL and you can do that fancy shit in the regular season. And these guys have got trophies and you're giving them contracts. But like you got to know when you watch the playoffs that those big boys, they come to the front of the line every time. And without them, you're going to get left in the dust. And they got taught that lesson 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 years and 5 years and 6 years. It's like, God, man, like you need some dogs in there. And maybe they just kept hoping these guys would find it and learn their lessons and mature and get that experience and then find it. But they sure as hell didn't, man. Game 5 and 6 and that stunned look on their face and their flat attempt at even pretending to get into those games was all you need to see, man. Those together with that much soft kind of players and purely skill-minded players, like they didn't go to war for you. They could have won that series if they did, but they just every time they just weren't capable of it. And that bugs me because Shanny was the epitome of that.
I know, and it's just weird because he hasn't been the same as like a president of a team. And put it this way, we were talking in 2019 is a time for change. And I think the bigger issue and the bigger problem here is that they doubled and they tripled and they quadrupled down on this core that everybody but these people knew wasn't going to work in this market. And there's even conversation coming out of exit interview day yesterday about potentially bringing Mitch Marner back. We'll get to the Tavares conversation too. Like, how dumb are we? Like, how could you even suggest that after whatever that was in game 7 and game 5? And it was the same movie, dude. It's being like forced against your will to watch this shitty ass movie. And you got to watch it. You know the ending. And that was the same feel I had waking up on Monday morning.
Yeah, it's kind of like a relationship where you are just holding on for dear life, just hoping things will change. And it's just clear you guys aren't meant for each other, and it's not right. And you just keep, holding on for dear life because you're scared of, breaking that apart. And then what your perspective is it going to be worse without? And I think of this core 4 and, you draft these guys and all the hype and the expectations and the excitement and potential is just through the roof. And you've drafted all these guys. I mean, Matthews and Marner and Nylander, and you convinced JT to come in. It's like, holy, we're looking pretty good, and everyone's excited. And then, oh, you came up short for this reason, or maybe it was that reason, or if we just had a goalie or just got that save, or we need to play a little bit different style, and then it'll all come together, and you hold on to it. And obviously now, knowing what we knew, no, they it's easy to say that they held on for too long, but I do understand from their side of the things going, man, like, we can't, like in 2019, like, can we really cut this loose and just blow it up? I mean, hindsight, you could probably say that would have been better, but at the time, I get why you could try to put some other pieces in play, maybe a different coach or, and they held on and they held on for too long. And I get why, but there were people yelling, it's the writing's on the wall. We know what this is. You're not going to turn these players into something that they're not. And ultimately they weren't able to turn into playoff performers. It's just the same bullshit numbers that we've been looking at, except now, 4 or 5 years later, they're even worse. And it sucks, and there will be change.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.